CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a push from the Prime Minister to create what would be the world's largest trading bloc. It's been something European leaders have been pushing for and would exclude the United States. And as Mike Lucaturo reports, Canada may play a leading role.
Prime Minister Mark Carney confirms Canada has begun discussions with countries from both the European Union and a collection of Pacific nations with an eye to making a larger trading bloc. It builds on his speech in Davos, where Carney called on middle powers to join together.
You start to put together blocs of like-minded countries on different issues. Canada can play a role there. We're one of the countries playing a role, and we'll continue those discussions.
The new trading bloc would represent 39 countries and 1.5 billion people. While the Conservatives applaud the effort, trade critic Adam Chambers says resources should be focused on renewing the Canada-US-Mexico trade agreement.
A discussion between CPTPP nations and the EU might have some future fruits down the road. We need to make sure that we get a deal right on NAFTA, as we did a number of years ago.
President Donald Trump has mused about walking away from the trilateral trade deal altogether. And some trade experts worry creating another massive trading bloc without the U.S. could make him angry.
We know Donald Trump. If you go down this road, he will take this as a personal affront. And we seem to be walking into the punches. I don't quite understand the strategy.
While there is a risk of blowback from the U.S., this former trade advisor to Prime Minister Stephen Harper believes getting like-minded nations on the same page is a good thing.
Even if this isn't successful, I think that there's still a worthwhile effort in having a common conversation with all of these countries together around how we can cooperate, how we can collaborate.
Trade experts also point out there are still elements of the Canada-EU free trade agreement which have not been ratified by European countries. So while there are discussions about a new trading bloc, we're still a long way from striking a deal. Mike Lucaturo, CTV News, Ottawa.
Meanwhile, Mark Carney revealed more specifics on a $6.6 billion defense strategy today. He called it a buy and build initiative with the goal of awarding 70% of contracts to Canadian firms. And with more on the Canada First approach, here's Geneviève Beauchemin.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada has for too long relied on geography and others to protect the country, that his plan overhauls that strategy in a changing world.
It means building a domestic defense industrial base so we are never hostage to the decisions of others.
Others, including the U.S. Still, Carney insisted his strategy to arm the military and boost Canada's defense industry would be complementary, not in competition with American defense supply chains.
Its framework is simple. Build, partner, buy. First, we will build in Canada and prioritize Canadian companies.
Canadian companies now provide roughly 1/3 of this country's military needs. Carney wants 70% over the next decade, and he wants to increase defense exports by 50%.
That's real growth.
Many of Canada's defense contractors have long focused on exports. This strategy could change that, but the industry says the procurement system has to be much leaner, faster.
If it doesn't happen, it could undermine the entire strategy that we just heard about today.
Many of the details had been revealed before, and the Conservatives criticized the strategy as filled with buzzwords and promises that won't deliver.
What I expect from this government is that they're going to put aside their partisanship and reach across the table and work with us to ensure that we can deliver.
But the government says it's setting up a defense investment agency to streamline the system, a centerpiece of its strategy. CAE is the world's largest simulator provider. Half of its business is for civil use, half for defense, most of it for now exported.
We're talking about a sea change in spending and focus. And so as the government works on simplifying how to work with contractors, it only accelerates us.
But with this major overhaul of defense spending, many say that there's still some fine-tuning to be done to ensure that this strategy becomes reality. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
A London city councillor says he wants answers from the provincial government over a decision to close a Service Ontario location in his ward. Hadley McAllister says several business owners in Ward 1 have expressed disappointment since a pending closure was announced for the Service Ontario location on Commissioners near Adelaide. A notice in the window indicates its final day will be February 25th. About 2 years ago, the provincial government announced Service Ontario sites around the province would begin closing, instead opening kiosk-style options in stores like Staples and Walmart.
I think it would be good for the province to give some more advance notice. We got pretty late notice in terms of this location closing, and it really throws people off in terms of the service standards. So maybe if the province could communicate a bit better, not only with municipalities, but with residents in terms of what their long-term plans with Service Ontario are.
Representatives with the ministry responsible declined to answer questions, instead issuing a statement which gave no indication whether the remaining 5 Service Ontario sites in London would also eventually close. A council committee was deadlocked today about whether posting landlord names and phone numbers on the city's website would make rental properties better neighbors.
If you're a landlord in the city and you follow the rules already set out by this body, you should have absolutely no reason to be concerned.
People are trying to see how can they inform the property owner of what's going on to make things a little bit better.
You have to go through layers of legal work to ascertain the identity of absentee owners, and this is not conducive to a good neighborly feeling on a block.
City staff suggested there may be privacy concerns with making landlord information searchable on the city website. They also warned neighbors might take the enforcement of noise and property standards into their own hands. Currently, a computer in the City Hall lobby provides property ownership information, or residents can file a Freedom of Information request. Council will debate the issue in 2 weeks.
I can't think of any reason why we would be doing this other than to protect the anonymity of certain owners. And that is not a legitimate purpose under the law. So I'm hoping that other councillors just say, yes, let's just make it easier for people to get this information.
After 2 years of lobbying, the Hyde Park BIA is backing off plans to expand its boundaries. As Jerry Dewan reports, council support has wavered, sending officials back to the drawing board.
In the fall of 2024, the Hyde Park Business Improvement Area proposed an expansion that was seen by many as an innovative way to help support more businesses. They wanted to create nodes in adjacent neighborhoods that would fall under a broader BIA umbrella.
Creating one BIA where each node would live through the BIA and each node would have its own branding.
The idea was designed to allow neighborhoods to maintain their own identities while benefiting from BIA expertise.
Promotion, events, beautification, support, advocacy.
But a letter submitted to the city's Planning and Environment Committee formally withdraws the BIA's proposal. The organization cited financial and political pressures. Spakowski says under the Municipal Act, if 1/3 of businesses oppose a new or expanded BIA, then that process can't go ahead. She says in this case, it was clear councillors were looking for a strong endorsement of the proposal. Ward 7 Councillor Corinne Rahman initially said she was encouraged by the plan. Her ward includes Hyde Park and she sits on the BIA. She now says it isn't clear whether many businesses in the expanded area understood what was being asked of them. She notes that BIAs collect a levy, which is then pooled.
I think in order for us to have a fair process, we need to ensure that we hear from the business community, and it shouldn't be by default that the recommendation comes forward. It should be because people are championing it and because they want to be part of a BIA.
Spakowski says the Ontario Business Improvement Area Association, or OBIA, is lobbying the province for changes to the Municipal Act to make the process more transparent. Rahman believes council would support such a change.
Participating in the process really means that you mail back a piece of paper to say you object to going forward. And I think that that onus is too high on a business owner.
Spakowski says the BIA is committed to reviving the node concept in the future and is confident businesses will be supportive. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
A fire broke out last night in downtown London. London fire officials posted these images on social media saying they were called just before midnight to Dundas near Richmond. They say the fire started from a power bar under a desk and damage is estimated at $150,000. A manslaughter trial began today in London against a man charged with selling deadly fentanyl-laced drugs to a woman who died. With more from the London courthouse, here's Nick Paparella.
33-year-old Jordan Carlyle has pled not guilty to 1 count of manslaughter and 1 count of criminal negligence causing bodily harm. In his opening address, Crown Attorney John Lee outlined his case, telling the court how Christina Bestward and her partner Daniel Gale bought drugs from the accused in May of 2023 through e-transfers, with Lee saying Ms. Bestward and Mr. Gale occasionally used cocaine. Mr. Carlyle was their dealer. Hours later, the couple's school-age son found them at their Wyatt Street address. He came back home from school to find his parents unconscious and unresponsive. Gale would recover in hospital. However, Bestward died, with Lee saying her cause of death was determined to be multi-drug toxicity resulting from a combination of drugs which included cocaine and fentanyl in her body. When Gale testified on the opening day about the night in question, he said, "I remember taking 2 tokes. I don't remember much after that." Lee asked Justice Mark Garson to convict the accused based on the evidence he will present, saying the Crown will submit in its closing that it does not matter whether Mr. Carlyle knew the drugs he sold were laced with fentanyl or not. The Crown says it will call a total of 6 witnesses, with the case expected to be wrapped up by the end of the week. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Sarnia police say they've charged a man with manslaughter after a fatal overdose. Police say this is 35-year-old Brandy McConnell. According to police, she died in May 2024 after using fentanyl. Police say they used cell phone records to determine who supplied her the drugs, arresting a 30-year-old man, Mackenzie Kozlov, who remains in custody. Canadian border agents say they seized more than 250 kilograms of meth at the Blue Water Bridge. They say 16 duffel bags were found inside a commercial truck trailer earlier this month, and a 29-year-old from Woodstock now faces various charges. One person was sent to hospital after a crash north of Seaforth this morning. Provincial police say it happened around 10 a.m. 2 vehicles were involved, injuring 3 people, one of whom had serious injuries requiring hospital treatment. Police had closed the road for several hours during their investigation. The Thames Valley Public School Board opened its 3rd new facility this year in Woodstock today. Sean Irvin has more on the school's mid-year opening and what it means for students who no longer have to deal with a lengthy commute.
With tradespeople still applying the finishing touches to the brand new Turtle Island Public School, students enjoyed their first chance to play in the schoolyard. At a nearby corner, crossing guard Ann Muller is finishing up a busy first morning shift.
It was hectic, but I liked it. You could tell everybody was so happy, kind of like the first day of school.
And in many ways, it was. Turtle Island's debut occurred mid-year to accommodate added growth in the new North Woodstock residential subdivision that surrounds it.
It's right in the heart of the community. So now our kids who were bused in the morning for an hour and an hour after school now are walking. We only have 3 buses.
Holly Powell is the school's first principal. She tells CTV News London the student population is a merger of overflow from 3 rural schools.
It's in the middle of this neighborhood, so we hope that we can be the heart of it.
And those bus rides are much shorter than students have been used to.
It was like 30 minutes, and it used to take a lot of time, and that's why I like the school so much. That's one of the advantages. It's super close that I can walk, and it's literally just a 10 minutes walk.
The new school, built at a cost of over $30 million, will accommodate more than 850 students. While the school board would not provide the final price tag for the building, a spokesperson confirms it's anticipated to come in on budget. Meanwhile, with 770 students enrolled, Turtle Island is already approaching capacity. However, there is still space to grow before portables are added.
So we have room for 3 more classes in our building.
While the library and classrooms are operational, the double gym will not be available for use for a few weeks yet. Still, it seems this grade 7 student was impressed on day 1. So everything meets your expectations?
Everything meets. It actually went up the roof. It's too good to be true.
The public school board building spree is not over. 4 more elementary schools are expected to open over the next 18 months. In Woodstock, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Still ahead, a missed opportunity. Why a major hit series passed on the chance to film in London and how local leaders want to change that in the future. Canada's main stock index was weighed down by losses in the base metals sector and energy stocks. The TSX fell 177 points. In New York, the Dow and Nasdaq each gained 32 points. Canadian dollar dropped 1/5 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold down $140 an ounce. Oil lost 49 cents a barrel. The latest inflation data shows the cost of food in Canada soaring. Last month, we saw the highest food inflation rate of all G7 countries. With more on the numbers, here's Adrian Gobriel.
Putting the brakes on inflation at the pumps. Canada's annual inflation rate landed at 2.3% in January, a slight dip from 2.4% in December, with the price of gasoline driving the decline, dipping by more than 16% year over year.
Pretty good print with prices heading in the right direction.
After years of driving inflation, the cost of shelter is now actually helping keep things grounded.
Whether that's ownership costs, or we're seeing that rents overall are decelerating. I would say that big contributing factor to CPI continues to move in the right direction.
The same can't be said at the grocery store, where a 4.8% overall increase is leaving Canadians with a bitter taste. While rice, fresh vegetables, and eggs have decelerated, ground beef is up by more than 22% year over year. Nuts and seeds have spiked more than 13%, with roasted and ground coffee boiling over at more than 37%.
It's products that are affected by specific circumstances that are driving prices up.
Coffee yields, according to one economist, are being impacted by climate change. Droughts in recent years have in part led to Canadian farmers reducing their number of cattle to a near 40-year low.
Often we say when price goes up, demand goes down, and we're not very quick to stop eating beef. I expect that we'll see higher beef prices sustained for a few years.
While food costs remain a concern, overall the current rate of inflation is being pitched as a positive, even as the outlook remains murky, with so much riding on the whims of a U.S. administration and vital free trade negotiations.
Some economists believe there's a good chance that interest rates will hold when the Bank of Canada announces its next decision on March 18th, though GDP and unemployment could factor in to future rate decisions in April and June. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Good evening. We have cloud cover overnight and the chance for some rainfall, but the major weather system arrives for your Wednesday with periods of rain, freezing rain, and gusty winds out of the east. Thank you, Cassie. If you're heading out with Lola for an early morning walk, freezing rain expected. The temperature holding steady at 0. As we head through the day, we'll come up to a +1. A variety of precipitation across southern Ontario, everything from rain to a wintry mix to ice pellets to snow in and around the GTA. I'll have your local weather details coming up right after this.
Welcome back with Julie on the desk now. And it sounds like, Julie, we're in for a pretty substantial shift weather-wise after a beautiful, very spring-like day today.
Yeah.
Winter storm potentially tomorrow.
Yeah, this one winding its way through southern Ontario, and temperatures hovering near the freezing mark will be problematic for precipitation types in and around the region. Widespread watches and warnings in effect. Now in London, the majority of the precipitation is expected to fall as rain, but areas just north and northeast of the city could see extensive freezing rain. Now, London, there is the potential for 2 to 5 millimeters of ice accretion as we head through the day on Wednesday. So temperatures will be hovering anywhere between 0 and +2. And again, that's right where we do see that dividing line, of course, between that frozen precipitation and liquid. Now, there's lots of moisture to tap into with this system as it starts to move into the area. Temperatures overnight, Carlyle will drop down between 0 and -1 in most areas to -3 towards Barrie and Wyerton. Wellington. So this weather system, as it starts to come in tomorrow, we pick up the easterly wind, 30 with gusts to 50 through the day. Now, areas to the south and southwest of London will see rainfall. Near Lake Huron, we could see upwards of 20 millimeters of rain as we head towards Sarnia. So extensive amounts of moisture toward the southwest. As we head to areas north and northeast of London, that's where we'll see the freezing rain. So we could see an extended period of freezing rain. Kitchener-Waterloo in and around Mount Forest towards Toronto. Toronto will be seeing ice pellets, snowfall, a wintry mix expected. So this system really packing a punch in terms of travel. The roads will get very dicey early in the day. So this system comes in through the morning and it will last through the better part of the afternoon. Satellite radar just shows it getting organized right now. The low pressure area will be racing in, lifting this frontal boundary towards the region. And with it, you can see the mixing. So the pink indicating freezing rain. You can see the area of southern Ontario that this really impacts. So parts of Grey and Bruce County, Perth County, you're into this. Waterloo, Wellington, Kitchener, Toronto into the mixed precipitation, ice pellets, and that could bring down snowfall amounts. So snowfall amounts will be quite varied. Just north of Toronto, though, snowfall amounts could hit 15 centimeters. You can see London really on the fringe of this, so we could get into that freezing rain, as I mentioned. Ice accretion, and what that leads to, of course, is power lines down and hydro issues in southern Ontario. So tomorrow is going to be a big day in the region as this system rocks its way through. By the evening, conditions will start to calm down a bit, overcast, and as we head through the week, we'll be dodging weather systems. This forecast model is indicating the rainfall, so I want you just to pay attention from London towards the southwest, so indicating anywhere from 10 to 15 millimeters of rain towards Lambton County, Windsor, Essex, and Chatham-Kent. The rest of the region, those numbers will be varied because of the mixing going on. Temperature as we head into the afternoon at +1, winds out of the east 30 with gusts to 50. Over the next 7 days, we will see milder conditions through the weekend and then a big drop off again next week. So for your Thursday, cloudy with a 40% chance of drizzle, the high +3, 6 degrees on Friday with rain, 2 degrees on Saturday with a 40% chance of flurries and then snow in the forecast on Sunday, mainly cloudy Monday and -4, overnight lows at -6. Midwestern Ontario, rain, freezing rain, and it looks like you could see an extended period of freezing rain. Ice accretion, that will be a big issue. Slick roads, expect very icy conditions. If you can avoid non-essential travel tomorrow, that would be the best bet for sure. Cloudy conditions Thursday at +1, 2 degrees as we head into your Friday with freezing rain potential. Flurries on Saturday, a messy week ahead. Snow on Sunday and daytime highs early next week, dropping down to about -6. So Carlyle, a big weather system, high impact system as well, affecting millions of people in southern Ontario. So this one will be a biggie, especially timing coming through the morning commute and into the early afternoon. Back to you.
Thank you, Julie. City officials say London was in the mix as a potential filming location for the new season of the popular hockey series Heated Rivalry. However, that won't come together, blamed on delays and timing issues. As Rita Ismail reports, local film leaders want faster action from decision makers to attract future projects.
London, Ontario was in the running to host scenes from Heated Rivalry, a popular Canadian series now streaming on Crave. The show, created by Jacob Tierney and based on novels by Rachel Reed, follows two professional hockey players in a secret relationship. Instead of filming here in London, producers chose other Ontario cities, including Guelph, where hockey scenes were shot at the Sleeman Centre. Now, city officials say that decision came at a cost.
Big productions like that, I mean, they come with a large economic footprint with them. While they're here, the crew are going to be staying in London hotels. They're going to be spending their per diems here in London. They're going to be eating at local restaurants. They're going to be going to local shops. They might feature local institutions, or, you know, in this example, a local sports team was invited to participate and be a part of the show. And because it ended up being such a popular show, it would be a tourism destination for London.
Dodd says delays in connecting with property owners and institutions made it difficult to secure locations in time.
We have had a couple of opportunities where it's just been kind of tough to get the landowners or the property owners or the right person. talking to the locations in a timely manner. That's really key, that we get the right person on a conversation, a call or a Zoom or whatever, as quickly as we can.
More productions are showing interest in London, and Dodd hopes this missed opportunity will serve as a lesson for future projects.
We have a huge variety of different locations, everything from, we can double as a bigger city to a smaller town. We have historic homes that can be period pieces, farmland, village, we have it all. We just want to make sure that when opportunity knocks, that we're able to answer the door.
Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Welcome back. The provincial government has announced 30 new appointments to the Order of Ontario. One of them is a Western University professor, Amanda Jibb. Her focus is in genocide studies, including the Holocaust and civil unrest in El Salvador. And finally tonight, a London-based musician has released a new song celebrating a fellow Londoner about to embark on a mission to the moon. With more on her connection to Jeremy Hansen and what the song means to her, here's John Venevali-Rao.
Where's my equal life? London, Ontario-based singer-songwriter M. Greiner is a Juno nominee who's released plenty of songs over the last 3 decades. And of her latest track, you could say she's over the moon about the subject matter.
There's an astronaut going into space, the only Canadian on this moon mission. I'm reaching out to touch the sky.
Greiner performing this song she co-wrote and produced with other Canadians called Touch the Sky. It celebrates Jeremy Hansen and his lifelong dream to go to the moon, which is perhaps weeks away from reality.
For Jeremy to be going potentially deeper into space than humans have gone before and to be the first Canadian to do so, it's just really magical,
Greiner, who's friends with Hansen's wife, had been working on the song since last April.
I really wanted it to be a feel-good anthem.
The song's video not only explores the Artemis mission ahead, but also shows how Hansen, as a child, grew up on a farm and set a goal to go to the moon. The director thrilled to tell his story.
I'm a big fan of space too, so this just really resonates with me in so many levels.
Greiner is no stranger to working with astronauts. In the past, she's collaborated with Chris Hadfield, helping him with a version of David Bowie's Space Oddity. This is ground control to Major Tom, which he famously performed on the International Space Station. And now she'd like Canadians to cheer on Hansen as he gets ready to blast off with 3 Americans.
I'm hoping that people kind of can go along with his dream and maybe feel inspired to follow theirs.
A song she also calls a love letter to Canada as Hansen prepares to take the nation on a voyage to remember. John Venevali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.